Hey everybody, and welcome back to Talk Norwich City. Jack Reeve here. I hope you guys are all doing very well indeed. Norwich City drew with Preston 1-1 the other day. Probably one of the most gutting results to take all season. We'll be getting on to why shortly. But first of all, if you are new to the channel, please do hit like on this video and subscribe. And also, if you're not new to the channel and you want a Fark Life poster, the link is in the description. Last chance to get one. I think we've got about 10 or so left. So be quick if you want one of them posters. Absolutely brilliant. A4, only a £5. Happy days. As I say though, Norwich City drew with Preston. We are still top of the table and we were actually now closer to securing promotion than we were when we took on Preston. Results went our way. Swansea lost, Brentford drew. The only real team close to us, Watford, did win. They got past Sheffield Wednesday and the gap has closed slightly there. We now are 6 points clear at the top of the table and need 10 points from 7 games to guarantee promotion back to the Premier League. You would suspect that we've got that in our hands now. In terms of can we win the Championship title, well, the chances are slightly less than they were going into the Preston game, but you would really hope that we're not going to lose too many more games from now on until the end of the season. It's worth noting as well, we still have to play Watford. Watford have to play Brentford and Swansea, I think. So it's going to be it's going to be a fascinating end to the season. I think that chase for third will be really tight. I think Watford will drop a few more points. I think Swansea might be out of it now, but Brentford, I still think have got a couple more gears to go through. So that's going to be fascinating. Norwich, though, so unlucky not to beat Preston. Everything was against us going into that game. The EFL and Preston refused to change the scheduling, which, to be honest, I know there are a lot of Norwich fans very angry. Daniel Farke very angry. He said that the welfare of his players was at risk, and he has a point. This is a very congested season, as we all know. When you throw into the mix that we were playing a competitive championship game, 48 hours after some players were halfway across the world, that's not ideal. And we saw that, Max Aaron's left out, Dimitri Yanoulis left out, Oliver Skipp left out, like key players here that couldn't take part because they were either injured or, in Yanoulis's case, Farke described him as a zombie coming back to Colney. I think he landed at something like 5:30, straight into training, and just wasn't up to playing against Preston. But I think these kind of things even out. It's worth noting that we play Huddersfield on Tuesday night. They had to play on Sunday, so it's a really quick turnaround for them, and that was a pretty frantic 90 minutes against Brentford. So these things even out over the course of the season. I'd much rather be Norwich City with a really packed out squad than a Rotherham, for example, who still have like 4 games in hand on certain teams in the division, and they've got a really thin squad. So this kind of stuff happens. It's not ideal. At least we didn't lose the game. We should have won the game. We created so many chances, and I think that was the pleasing thing. Pukki had one of his only off days really this season. 7 shots on goal. And not a single one of them went in, and like a good 3 or 4 of them were clear-cut chances as well. The ones that you'd put your house on Pukki scoring, the one-on-ones. He did rattle the crossbar. That was desperately unlucky. It just wasn't his day. There was a couple of good saves, a couple he just dragged wide. Emi Buendia was creating chances for fun though, and that was the pleasing thing. It was a beautifully taken goal from Emi Buendia, who has just continued to shine throughout this season. And just looks bang up for it as well. Like, hasn't dropped the intensity at all throughout this season. And I don't want to kind of admit to myself that he's gone in the summer, but I'm just trying to get every piece of enjoyment out of him while we've still got him. I think we have to note as well the performances from Ballymumba and Andrew Omodamibele were absolutely fantastic. Like, I tweeted this out the other day. It's astonishing the amount of trust Farke puts in these youngsters, and that trust is just completely repaid. I mean, Omodamibele is 18, Ballymumba's 19, and they look like seasoned championship players. I know we've seen Ballymumba in a Norwich City shirt before, but he's excellent, like an excellent footballer who did not look out of place. I was gutted for Big Andy, who the 95th minute goal from Potts deflected off his backside and went in. He'd been spot on up until then. There was one moment in the first half where he lost his man and Tim Krul pulled off a really good save to deny Preston in a one-on-one opportunity, but except for that, didn't look out of place. And considering how good Ben Gibson has been for this season, Big Andy should be dead chuffed with the performance he put in, and it's now up to him whether he can replicate that level of performance from now until the end of the season, because Ben Gibson won't be coming back, we know that. He's out injured for the rest of the season. I don't think Christoph Zimmermann's injury is quite as serious, but Big Andy will get a few more games to show why Farke put his trust in him. So that was wonderful, and that was really nice to see, and that's what gives you faith, doesn't it? When Farke was coming out with that miserable press conference going into this game, I wasn't so worried, because that there are youth players coming through, the Max Aarons, the Todd Cantwells of this world, who, once given a chance, they will prove their worth. I think my biggest niggle from that game and throughout the season is just a lack of protection that our technically gifted players receive. Emi Buendia, certainly, Todd Cantwell as well, they just get kicked to bits throughout the game. And Farke said this himself, he had to pull Emi Buendia off in the end because he was just getting continually kicked. He had a swollen ankle from the kicks, and not a single, none of the Preston players ended up getting reprimanded for it. How is this allowed to happen? And this isn't just an Emi Buendia thing, it happens with Jack Grealish as well at Aston Villa, and I'm sure other players, but these types of players who are technical, it happened with Maddison when he was at Norwich, and it still does now he's at Leicester. These are players who will be targeted because they're quicker than everyone. They move the ball quicker, and Preston couldn't keep up with him. All they could do was kick him. And it just frustrates me because there will come a time when that turns into an injury and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. But a positive point nonetheless. I think once my initial anger had kind of swayed, we'll look back at that game and go, yeah, that was a decent point considering the circumstances. Huddersfield up next. As I say, they've had a day less rest than us. I'm sure the likes of Aarons and Skip will be back in the mix, so it will be a stronger squad from Norwich City. You would think our chances are better in that game than they were against Preston. 10 points guarantee promotion. We won't need that many. Brentford and Swansea won't win every single game from now until the end of the season. So you probably say that 3 wins will be enough. We've got 7 games to do it. It's getting to the business end of the season, and I cannot wait. It's going to be a really exciting end to this season. Let me know what you thought of that game. What are we thinking going into Huddersfield on Tuesday? And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Easter bank holiday weekend, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.